Happy Wednesday night. Thank you so much for being a part of my world. And really just showing up, just showing up to the party, guys. Welcome to the show. Let's see how this works. What is throwing this thing off? The cable. Yeah, I don't know. It works pretty good. I think it looks pretty official and legit. Boom. Welcome to Unbothered, everybody. A very special family edition of Unbothered. Welcome to it. I'm Patrick. We're going to have a really chill show. We were just going to have... This is just for the overdose. We were just going to have a little chill listening party. I recently got my hands on a copy of Black Pedro's CD, Ablum, as he likes to call it. I paid $4.99 for it, so there are no shenanigans. This will be a fair use review / listening party of our dear man, Pedro. Make sure I have that pulled up here. Yep. 10 tracks, 45 minutes, all with the sound quality. I played a few seconds of one, and it sounds like it was recorded on a cell phone underwater, is what it sounds like. It's pretty jank, as the chillin' like to say. Today's show is brought to you by RTX, virtual green screen technology. It's not perfect by any means. But I am going to get a green screen up, I think. I think it's pretty good. Like, it's not and again, this looks like garbage, right? Yeah. Whatever. We're here to have a good time. Time? Did somebody say time?
In the world.
Yeah. But Ty Rivera, manic little fiend that he is, had to go and release like 2 more shows, in the past 24 hours. And I gotta tell you, we are treading on dangerous territory here. It's getting to the point now where this guy clearly has a mental illness, and we probably shouldn't be observing him with such zeal at some point. You know what I mean? Like, At some point, don't we have to go like, all right, this guy actually needs help? And when is it incumbent on us to stop being spectators? You know, like the Good Samaritan law. When is it incumbent on us to actually help this man or get this man help? For people who haven't been keeping up, and if you haven't been keeping up, I can't blame you. But we're going to have to stop going over Ty's shows in their entirety because he's just putting out too many. This guy doesn't care about quality at all, so of course there's no thought or prep that goes into anything, and that shows in droves when he talks, because he just ends up rambling into stories that have nothing to do with anything. He'll go from describing salsa to, you know, who Oprah Winfrey played in The Color Purple. He meanders. He has no train of thought. He's not an intelligent man. You know, I have a feeling that when he starts talking, he doesn't even have a direction. So he keeps putting out pretty much the same episode of Unbothered, which just over and over and over and over and over again, this guy just keeps going after the same people, okay? He keeps going after this guy, Gooch, who's Brandon Hahn, who's this comic who also happens to have a radio show here in Las Vegas. So we got that going on. Then he goes after bookers of clubs, Steve McAnally, admins of groups, comedy groups in Las Vegas on Facebook. He's been kicked out of now. Now, I did a survey going through that group. 13 out of the past 20 posts were by Ty Rivera, and like 3 others were about Ty Rivera. So it's going to get really, really quiet in these groups without him, which I'm all for. You know, we do need less garbage on the internet from morons. And also, you know, I think it's you need, for his own mental health, you've got to keep him out of these groups, because he's not stable enough to be a part of a comedy community on any level. He's going after LA Comedy Club, Matt Chavez there, Brant Tobler, Matt Markman, Jill Kimmel. He's going after Trixx. All these comics, like just one after the other. Big J Hollingsworth, they were fine 6 months ago, not anymore, falling out. Today he calls out Spiro, who's I'm not saying newer comic, but a newer comic, you know, not super long in the game, but a good comic, been around, putting in the work. All these people are decent people. Who he's just tossed aside. Like, he just throws friends away for nothing. It's the sign of a madman. And there's no real reason for anybody to be on the other side of this guy. I mean, listen to me. Take my word for it, man. Look at his page. Scroll through his page if you haven't been blocked yet. And you'll see, it's just fight after fight after fight after fight, laced with vanity upon vanity upon vanity. Just like, if anybody sees me out and I'm not doing this, this is why. People probably wonder why I do this. So it's just like nobody cares. This guy has no idea how to live and function in a society. He has no calibration for how important he is in the ecosystem of comedy. You know, he's calling out everybody in this motherfucker. Amy Blackwell, Jason Harris, Jozalyn Sharp. Our friend Jozalyn Sharp.
Oh no.
Very funny local comic, puts in the work, does a lot of shit. He goes after her in this. You know, she's been on several shows. People like Jozalyn Sharp. There's no end to this dude going after people. People are starting to get it now. Wake up to this shit. I'm going to look like goddamn Nostradamus when it comes to Ty. I'm telling you. I called this almost 9 months ago. All this idiot had to do was walk up to me and poke me. And then I turned around, took a look at his caravan of catastrophe, and called it like I saw it. This guy is a loose noodle. You know what I mean? Not fucking worth it. I'm getting communiques. Please stay away from my inbox. I'm just kidding. Keep sending me all the dirt. I have so much shit. First of all, Ty Rivera will not stop texting me. Non-stop. Day and night. Text. You've got to stop this. How do we end that? Like, I don't know, but that's the general sentiment. It's like, wow, you know, he's running around trying to make up with the right people. This is why it's bipolar manic, you know, shit, because it's like he's literally 1 minute like shitting all over somebody and then running around trying to make up with them and not understanding why they won't like talk to him or deal with him reasonably. I'm just a reasonable guy. I just and people, I don't know why people won't just talk to me in a reasonable manner. It's like you're an unhinged loon. Nobody's into it. Nobody wants to talk. Nobody wants to sit down and have a little chitty chat with a nut case. You can't even communicate effectively. I know that you think you're great. You have seriously deluded yourself. You know, and I don't know what you've done to yourself where you've told yourself that you're surrounded by the cream of the crop of comic society, but you are not. Any pro comic I have met and talked to you about, any club or booker I have talked to you about. And by the way, I talk to all of them like this in a gossip type situation. They know I'm into it, and I'm real into that juicy stuff. And this is how we talk. Not comic booker. We talk, oh my God, have you seen the latest Ty stuff? That's how we talk about you. So don't get me wrong. You've weaseled your way into a lot of clubs. You've continued to get booked at those clubs just based on momentum and habit. And now clubs are starting to realize you're not worth it. You know, and some of these clubs I think are afraid of you. This is legit. I got told that LA Comedy Club is scared of you. They're scared to badmouth and blackmail you because they think you might go after them and badmouth them in the community. Boy, have you got them bamboozled. Jesus fucking Christ. They think you're somebody? Holy shit. You got them. You got them. I mean, Ty doesn't have any power. He will ramble about you for 3 to 4 minutes before getting sidetracked about salsa or dog treats. He has too many enemies to focus on one and go after them. And by the way, the bodies are piling up, Ty. I know you feel it crashing around you. This is why you're pumping out podcasts left and right and left and right. He's manic defending himself. He keeps going on and on about something with Bobby and Krystle. One of them's about like he's been accused of hacking in and stealing nudes from Krystle's computer and like in her cam rooms and stuff. I guess she just cam rooms. I mean, this is like the third show he's done about it, defending himself. What's going on, Ty? You sound like you did it. Like, who goes on and on for 3 shows about not doing something? Who did it? You know what I mean? That doesn't make sense. That doesn't play out. So we can't go through another one of his shows. We can't. But I have pulled some clips. and I think you'll be interested. So let's go through them a little bit. In between these clips, which I've pulled about 15 minutes of an over-hour show, but in between these clips, he rambles on about Bobby and Krystle, Trixx's foot thing. He spends 30 minutes on Trixx's foot thing again, as if anyone gives a shit. I'd rather let Trixx lick my feet than listen to another whole unbothered program. He's texting me, right? Ty is texting me right now. Fuck off. I've never even answered it. Every third one, he's so daffy. He texts me like, is this Patrick? It's like, how dumb are you? I'm yelling at you live while you text me, you dope. Imagine me answering him and engaging with this nut. What a loon. So he's called out everyone. And I'm telling you, it's crashing down around this guy. If you're still on the Ty train, really take a look at yourself. Scroll through. Number one, ask yourself this. Am I new to the scene? Have I been doing comedy less than 3 years? And do I not really get paid for it and have another full-time job? I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'll step back now. You know? Because from what I can tell, he has like 2 people who are open micers willing to stick up for him. Victor and Claire, whoever they are. Like, I don't know who these people are, but like they keep running to any thread he's involved in and sticking up for him. It's like, you guys look like dumbs. You know? And I don't know them, so I don't engage. Every time they like come after me, I don't engage them. I don't blame them. Somehow Ty has fooled them into thinking he's a cool, popular guy. You'll see just like 15 people in the past 2 weeks have seen, okay? He will throw you under the bus the minute he has an opportunity to look better by throwing you away. He will. You don't mean shit to him. He's using you. You know, have you wondered why your photo is on every piece of album art he creates? You're the only one on his side. You're the only one. It's like Ty keeps making like all this album art. It's like Scarface and stuff, you know? And it's like on one side, it's like all the Vegas comics. And then on the other side, it's like him and this Victor guy and his dog. He'll literally put Bijou's face on one of the guys because that's Ty's crew. He's tricked an open micer. He has a dog that can't get away. And he's got the voices in his own head. That is the army of dumb that Ty Rivera has constructed around himself. So I just want to point it out. You know, the more people he attacks, like every day, literally go look at his timeline. The more every day when he goes after new people, the more it looks like dementia and like an unhinged nut. So keep making the vids and keep going after everybody. Maybe it's time for everyone to have a good look at itself. Yeah, I mean, true. We've all been a little too cooped up, haven't we? But some of us have bigger delusions than others. You know, I think I'm cute. Here's Ty Rivera.
So I talked about the situation where the woman's police report got posted on the Comedy and Discussions group. That was apparently completely within bounds. Then I put my podcast up, which are nothing but related to the Las Vegas.
So the reason Ty's so butthurt now about being kicked out of these groups, this is where he would get all his hits for YouTube. He is one of those like 3 times a day posts his YouTube videos in the group, which is more annoying than a comedy poster. You know what I mean? Like it's like a comedy poster that moves and has Ty's voice. So already gross. And then he'll do the thing where like in comments of other people's threads, he'll just go find out what I think about it and then like post a link to his YouTube. Like he's like, this is why he's mad about being kicked out of this group. Now, he says, I counted. It's not all in the clips I've cut here today, but you can go listen to yourself for his new show. 17 times he says how he's not mad and actually glad he's not in the group anymore. 17 times. Does this sound like a stable boy? Or girl? Are you doing stand-up again? Not yet. Of course I'll do stand-up again. Like, get out of town. Like, people, this is the other thing. It's like, okay, so I had headlining date obligations around the country, and I went and did those in September, October. Came home and have just not been doing shows. You know, I'm an overweight man who used to smoke, not anymore. Diabetic, not taking any chances. These guys, and this is another like kind of malfunction, I'll say, with some of these people is like they feel the need, like if I'm not out there letting people know, you ain't headlining no place. Ah, come on, man. They feel like if I'm not out there just getting these jokes out to the people, I don't know what I am anymore. Now, I find the Zoom shows even more cringe. I have more respect for the people going out to open mics than I do. Oh no. I want to see the one guy who wears shorts and shoots his sets in his back. Oh, Daniel Songer. So I find the Zoom shows very cringy, but I also find everybody who's starting a podcast recently very cringy. But, you know, I think the only way I can reconcile doing this in my head and making a living at it is because I've been doing it for so long. If I had started this up during the pandemic, I'd lose my mind, you know. So it doesn't make sense for me. I don't understand when people are like, oh, I only talk to real comics. And that and your definition of real comics is like the guys you see at Chanclas. It's like, okay. I wouldn't pay a dime for a Zoom show. What happened to the studio you put so much woodwork into? Oh, wait, that burned down hours ago. So yeah, so that's where I'm saying is just like, let's all recalibrate a little bit. You'll notice that here's what I'm trying to say. Here's an experiment, because you'll hear Ty all the time claim he doesn't have time for little no-name nobody comics. He only deals with people who are like real comics. Here's an experiment. Find headliners from around Las Vegas. Only headliners on shows. Like go to the Laugh Factory and go to, LA Comedy Club even. Go to Chanclas even. Wherever it is, find headliners, okay? Go to the Comedy Cellar. Go to the Improv. Go to Brad Garrett's. Make a list of headliners in the city, and then find any thread of ties where one of those people, those headlining real comics, get involved and stick up for Ty. As a matter of fact, as you'll hear on this audio, several of them he's now done with because they wouldn't stick up for him. So, I mean, even his own logic is like, I don't fuck with like me. I'm a nobody comic who can't do anything. That's fine. That's fine. Find the people you do respect. Find the people on the headlining spot on all the posters in the town and show me all of them sticking up for you. You show it to me. Oh, wait, you can't. You have Victor and a couple other dopes. And it's like, okay. You know, I gotta say, even though things, Butch Bradley and I have a strained thing, how much respect do I have for Butch Bradley? What a fucking adult who's gotten his shit together. Oh my God. You know, this guy makes Ty Rivera look like a 6-year-old. From everything I've heard about Butch Bradley, because I talk to people, he's like a professional, respected, liked guy here. And like people are into him. So, that goes against what my opinions and stuff. And I have to reconcile with that. I have to, face that and recalibrate my truth. Ty doesn't do that. If he had a beef with Butch Bradley and somebody told him Butch Bradley was a decent guy, they'd go, for instance, Matt Markman. Matt Markman is friends with Butch Bradley. We were talking about Butch Bradley last night. Nothing bad at all. No drama. No shade. Everything was fine. An adult who can't write a check. Okay. Well, that's not what we're focusing on right now. The point is, adult, nonetheless. You don't see Butch Bradley spiraling out of control, being unprofessional. If anything, quite the opposite. So, credit where it's due to sane men. Cheers. On the other hand, you have Ty Rivera, who just does this kind of stuff.
So I talked about the situation where the woman's...
I wore my only salmon shirt
report
for
got
the
posted
Unbothered set
on
tonight, okay?
The Comedy and Discussions group. That was apparently completely within
Butch Bradley's
bounds.
girlfriend sells brownies?
Then I put my podcast up, which are nothing but related to the Las Vegas comedy scene.
He's talking about posting his podcast up in the group.
And for some reason, those are considered controversial. So when you talk about things that completely have nothing to do with stand-up comedy in the stand-up comedy group, it's completely fine. But when you talk about things that are actually happening within the comedy community, then apparently that's considered to be too much. And that's when the civilians have to get involved and let you know that...
So he's claiming that the group doesn't allow real comedy discussion, only bullshit. Real comedy discussion like his videos, his Unbothereds, okay? Meanwhile, I posted a thread where I was like, hey, can anybody back up Ty's claim? He's claiming Trixx stole a joke. Can anybody back this up? I'd like to know, because we either have a thief or a liar. It wasn't pointed. It jabbed a little bit at Ty, but it didn't accuse either side. I go, I want to know what's what. Do we have a liar or a thief? Everybody was in there like, well, I don't know. I don't know about this. I don't know about that. No, trying to give opinions. Ty busts in, derails it. Bobby and Krystle. Yeah, right. You do 6 hours on me. Yeah, right. People don't even know this guy. Anything he could do to distract away from an investigation of people trying to get to the bottom of what happened. Now, if I was Ty and I was the victim, I wrote this. If I was the victim, and I put it in quotes, I would want to help with this investigation and get to the bottom of it. Like, you had a bit stolen. Don't we want to find out what's what? Oh yeah, well, you're just just back to just distracting. Because he knows there's nothing there. Let me ask you something. Of all the comic thieves, and believe me, you guys know I'm against comic thieves. Of all the comic thieves, and by the way, if this comes out where we do find out Trixx did this, I'll eat my words. I'm not against you, Ty. I take your side against Black Pedro. I think you got treated unfairly there. 100%. Those guys are off their rockers racist. Sharing's okay, but Black Pedro is bonkers McGonker. Okay? So don't tell me I'm not fair. I take your side in that fight. But when it comes to this, okay, you are wrong. You are wrong. Recalibrate it.
You must be crazy to be telling the truth about a group that really is, because the rules always change. Like, I pushed the white supremacy and the white privilege thing, and that's because that's the only thing that keeps Krystle being a part of that group, is just because white men like Alex and Steve McAnally, who are the two people that run that group.
So now he's getting into race stuff. He called these guys racist. Steve McAnally books a show. He went off on LA Comedy Club. They book shows. Like, this guy is just on he's he doesn't understand how to participate in a community. It's like he also doesn't have the balls to say this to anybody's face. He stays away from people, and then, by the way, goes home and does a podcast about how people were afraid to approach him. It's like, no one wants to approach you. He literally, the night after he did the whole thing calling out Trixx, he's like, I even went to Trixx's show, and he didn't even come talk to me. It's like, why would Trixx want to come talk to you, dummy? You're not that important. You're a guy people put up with, okay, because you're around, and then you acted like an asshole and double-crossed them and fucked them over, and now you're just like, what? And they're like, yeah, we don't, like, you were never a fixture we needed anyway. So, like, why would we ever? And then he's still texting me right now. Ty is texting me left and right. They're rolling in. I'm not even going to read him. But this is the kind of guy he is, and he texted everybody. He tried to make up with Trixx. He tries to make up with Matt. He'll try to make up with LA Comedy Club. And by the way, he has a headlining date, I guess, coming up with Steve McAnally at the Rollin' Smoke on a Wednesday night later in April. And somebody told me that's going to go ahead. Like, McAnally's going to keep him on that. Like, I'm sorry, you look cocked if you do that. This dude is like calling you a racist, calling you not a funny comic. Like, that's the other thing he does. The minute he has a falling out with you, you're not funny and he never liked you anyway. It's just like the most childish shit. It's like, again, I have plenty of problems with people. It doesn't affect my opinion of whether they're funny or not, because those two things aren't related. He is an emotional mess who can't separate the two. He's so mad he's not part of this group anymore, man. It's really rough for him.
Like, the rules always change. Like, I pushed the white supremacy and the white privilege thing, and that's because that's the only thing.
He goes off on Gooch for about 20 minutes on this one, saying that Gooch is racist and uses the N-word. Gooch is also on the radio here. It's like, I'm pretty sure he probably doesn't use the N-word when he's, familiar with FCC regulations and stuff. Again, just a real lack of awareness of where you fit in to the comedy ecosystem. This guy thinks he's a blue whale when in fact he's algae, he's plankton, he's krill at best.
Is just because white men like Alex and Steve McAnally, who are the two people that run that group, have been raised to believe that they're supposed to protect white women. So even when white women are wrong, white men will still protect them. And that's the only reason.
It's like just generalizations, no context, blaming people for something you have no proof of or even an anecdote about. Just rambling accusations, one after another with no train of thought. Listen to it.
Because she's a white woman. At one point, I had brought it up in December when she was making problems, because she always makes problems for people. And I really do not understand when a person's not a part of a community or doesn't actually do something, why they care what happens within that group. Like, to me, that would not make sense. If I were not a stand-up comedian, I would be in 0 stand-up comedy groups.
Why would people be involved in something they're not a part of? Let's not forget, the whole thing, the reason I got introduced to Ty was him coming on my page and just going off on me about something he was wrong about. He made an assumption and went off about it. He loves mixing it up, getting in there and fucking with other people's shit. What do you mean? Like, what are you even doing? It didn't even involve me. It's like, I don't know. What are all the injections doing in your face when they didn't involve that to begin with? Just keep on shooting it in.
Makes sense. If I were not a stand-up comedian, I would be in 0 stand-up comedy groups, because I don't need to be. I'm not a stand-up comedian. So for me, I don't really understand that, but at the same time, I am thankful to Alex for putting me out of the group, because I would have just continued to stay in the group. And
I'm telling you 17 times. I'm thankful they kicked me out. I didn't even want to be in there anyway. And by the way, it's been 5 days and it's still eating away at him like this. I don't even want to be in that group, and I don't even care about that group, and here's why the group's dumb, and I don't care about the group, and what I used to do in the group was, and the people in the group do this, and I don't even care about the group, and I'm glad I'm not in the group. It's like, enough about the group.
Stay in the group and argue with cosplay comedians or LARPer comics, because they don't actually do it.
Again, find one headliner who will stick up for Ty. They have to be a headliner on a poster on a Las Vegas show. Find me one. Not Trey's. I said headliner. Okay? And by the way, most of them he's pissed off in the past week. So you think you're going to call Jozalyn Sharp for a favor now?
Better understanding, and at least I could listen to them or somewhat pay attention to them, but it makes no sense to be arguing stand-up with people that don't actually do it and weren't particularly good when they did do it.
Like I said, as soon as he's done with you, you were never good at it anyway. I don't even know why I was your friend.
And I know people act like I'm gatekeeping.
He puts recommendation and gets people on shows and then have a falling out with them and be like, they're an awful comic. Meanwhile, 2 weeks ago, he did a whole video about how important recommendations are. And when he really goes out on a limb and puts his name out there for you, it's because you're good. It's like, make up your mind, victim or hero. I don't know. Whatever suits you, you know. How many personalities does this little girl have?
I'm gatekeeping. I really don't care anymore.
This is not a green screen. This is RTX technology. Okay.
Act like I'm gatekeeping when I say that stuff. Feel however you want to feel. If you think
It's like people act like I'm gatekeeping when I say that stuff. It's like there's no one thinks you're a gatekeeper to anything. Chonkless? Yosemite? I don't know what you're talking about. People think I'm a gatekeeper. It's like, to what?
If you think I'm gatekeeping, I'm gatekeeping. I really don't care anymore what people think.
Clearly. Again, this is like the third time he's done this show.
I just want people to leave me alone. When it comes to stand-up, just stay out of my way. And I posted on Facebook the other day that, you know, if you try to get in my way, I will ruin your life. And then some...
It doesn't come across like confident when you mumble it and trip over your own tongue. I told people on Facebook the other day, if you cross me, I'll ruin your life. Like no energy, stumbling over your own Botox.
Other day that, you know, if you try to get in my way, I will ruin your life. And then some chick that I've never heard of, Susan Thompson.
That's his favorite insult for people. It's like, I've never even heard of. I don't even know. It's like, that's not an insult. There's 7 billion people in the world. You know, I'd be willing to bet you don't know most of them. Yeah. Is he a gatekeeper? Yeah. I mean, what are we doing, guys?
Chick that I've never heard of, Susan Thompson, I believe is her name, was like, I hope to God you didn't mean that. Oh, I meant exactly that. And it's because...
I will ruin your life if you fuck... You won't. You won't. I have, I'll save this for a minute.
And it's because it works differently for me than it does for you. Like
listen to this.
I hope to God you didn't mean that. Oh, I meant exactly that. And it's because it works differently for me than it does for you. Like everybody thinks I've gone crazy in the last week and a half. Understand that I've been high on marijuana for a lot of this time.
He's trying to blame all of so on the 1 minute he's like, fuck everybody, I don't care what anybody thinks. And if you're mad at me and you think I have a problem, understand that I've been doing a lot of marijuana. What? A minute ago you'll ruin my life. Now it's like, guys, cut me a break. I've been doing marijuana? Holy shit.
Smoke weed every day.
I mean, who hasn't been doing a lot of marijuana? Wow. What does that even mean? Yeah, marijuana does not do that. Right. Guys, I know I've been picking a lot of fights with friends and burning a lot of bridges this week, but cut me a break. I've been doing a lot of marijuana. Keep sticking up for this idiot. I'm telling you, everyone's seeing it now. Like, how did we even miss it?
And that's about the length of time that they've been doing it in general is 10 years.
No, we're skipping to another part now because we can't listen to the whole show. I've just cut some clips.
I hate race.
He's making fun of Gooch doing a bit.
That's about the length of time that they've been doing it in general is 10 years. And
I hate racism.
is the best you can come up with. I mean, you're terrible. And then while we're having that conversation backstage,
Again, imagine every joke you've ever heard that was stolen by a comic, from Mencia to Amy Schumer, all the like big ones that people have been accused of. Dennis Leary, all the like ones people know about, the big famous comics. And it's like, if you go, what bit was stolen, you know, they'll go, oh, this. I have a bit like, okay, when my bit got done on Last Comic Standing, and people were like, oh, what bit was it of yours that was on Last Comic Standing? You go, oh, I just found out there's a website. This was what, 2007 when this happened? It was Last Comic Standing. My phone rang immediately, like, oh my God, are you watching your joke? Just people called me. I didn't have to put up a post or even talk about it on the show. My phone started blowing up with people who supported me and were outwardly like, and then I did a podcast with it, with all my co-hosts, Johnny B, Chef, Dagger, who had heard me do that joke for years and could verify it and would step up and verify it, you know? The way I see it, you've got two problems. Number one, this probably didn't happen since you can't even tell us what joke was stolen. And number two, you have no friends who will tell you. Like, if it did happen, it's even sadder because you don't have a friend. Not one. Not one fucking friend who will stick up for you. No matter what you fucking say. You know what I mean? People come up to me and they're like, what joke was it that got taken? I go, oh, I just found out there's a website that shows all the sexual predators in your area. It's called eharmony.com. Okay? Very simple. I give you the joke that was taken. Ask Ty what joke that was taken. In that thread, he's deleted all the comments now because he can't stand by anything he does ever. Blocking and deleting is his mantra, you know? Like, if I just wipe it, it didn't happen because my brain's wonky. Thanks for that. Sup? Or whatever it was. I don't know how things work. The point is, you should be able to, when somebody goes, what joke was stolen? You should be able to fire that off. It's like, again, we have like 9 clips of different shows of him mumbling about Michael Jackson and repeating Michael Jackson and saying, how long are we going to talk about Michael Jackson? And then a line that's a fact about Elvis. At what joke was taken? I need to see a body. You can't even tell me the joke. The piece of intellectual property that was stolen. How do we move on from here? How do we even begin to identify something that you can't identify? I mean, you are in the baggage office of life, and somebody is going, oh, you had something stolen. What did it look like? And you're like, unbothered bees, you whimsy alligators. That's all you have. Mumble Stiltskin, okay? We need to know. What's the joke? You should be able to concisely, thoroughly, and calmly recite the joke. What's the joke? I used it as like a pop before a punchline to a thing. It's like, well, now everything's changing, isn't it? You know? It sounds like a big nothing you're trying to blow up. Right.
and then while we're having that conversation backstage, and here's the thing that got me with Gooch, is because I hit him up because when I hit people up, understand I'm not hitting you up for your advice on a lot of shit. I'm hitting you up to tell you, get your friend before your friend gets fucking called out publicly. That's all I was.
Ty's texting me. Listen to the show. I played the bit with 19 exclamation points, which you know is the sign of an intelligent man.
when I hit Gooch up about Trixx. I wasn't looking for Gooch to guide me through this because Gooch can't guide you through anything. Gooch
So like
can't.
after attacking Gooch, he calls Gooch trying to hit him up to come on, stick up for me with Trixx. And meanwhile, Gooch is like, no one knows what you're talking about.
To guide me through this because Gooch can't guide you through anything. Gooch can't even figure out. Never mind. But Gooch is.
So now he's shitting on him again while telling a story about how he needs him to stick up for him.
But Gooch is terrible at stand-up. So, I mean, like, it's not like I was looking to him for any kind of advice. And so Gooch is trying to give me advice. And I'm like, yeah, that's not this kind of conversation. I'm telling you, your friend took my joke, and this is what I'm going to do about it if your friend doesn't just call and say, like, hey, I won't do your joke anymore.
You're not going to do anything. You're going to make a manic post about a guy who stole a joke that you can't even identify. And then it's going to get buried by 13 other posts in the next 48 hours of you losing more friends. So it's not, again, all these places are if you're, Steve McAnally or LA Comedy Club and you're thinking about still booking this guy, I'm going to look at you like a fucking cuck. I'm letting you know. Like, you might as well let him fuck your wife and then also give him a comment card when it's done. It's gross. How bad is Gooch if Ty is calling bad? Yeah, but Ty calls everybody bad that he has a falling out with. This is what I'm saying. As soon as he has a falling out with you, you're a bad, shitty comic. Even though, again, these guys are all the headliners in town. He mentions he only hangs with real comics, not open micers. Meanwhile, the only guy who will stick up for him and do his podcast is a virtual open. I don't know anything about him, so I can't speak too much. But from what I have heard from people, is a new comic open micer. Again, where's any comic headliner on your show sticking up for you? Where's any comic headliner that'll even come on your show and sit with you and trust you? I had one on my show 2 nights ago. He didn't want to be dragged into a bunch of comedy Vegas drama and knew that would be cool and knew that I have a brain that can focus and we don't have to get into it while trolling you a little bit and making you think it was going to be all about you. That was intentional from the beginning. So I'll have no problem getting any headliner you want to name in here to do the show because they understand that I can be professional. No one's going on unbothered. It's going to be a whimsies frenzy of insane stories about salsa, fat girls, and times you had trouble stringing up LED strips. So keep it to yourself. All the rambling stories about Bobby and Krystle, just stay in your home alone in your corner, spinning your globe, yelling at your wood paneling. Do it alone. Don't have someone else come in and sit in your kitchen and bore them to death for an hour. It was hard to watch that young boy, that comic. You drag him in there and sit him in that chair while you just ranted at the world and you need a sidekick. You're dragging this guy into every fight you pick. It's not smart, Victor. Don't get involved with this guy. I'm telling you. All these headliners that he's pissing off, it's like, what are you doing? I don't blame you, but I'm telling you, you're on the wrong side. What if we're the baddies? You need to ask yourself. Whew.
Won't do your joke anymore. Now I don't care. I don't want to hear from Trixx. I tried talking to Jay Hollingsworth about it. I tried talking to Spiro.
Big Irish Jay. Spiro. Listen to him just name ex-friends in the past week.
About it. I tried talking to Spiro about it. I understand why Spiro wouldn't be the most open.
Again,
talking to
I gotta say something here. Are people banana nuts? Are people nuts? We had a guy post today enough Ty already. It's like the last show was 2 hours and we didn't mention Ty's name. And now a guy in the chat, when are you going to have a comedian guest? It's like, again, we just had one. I didn't have on a comedian guest for a year and you never said a word. Then I have one on and you're like, what about comedian guests? It's like, are you guys really just the worst timing complainers ever? Or are you retarded? One or the other. Or it's trolling. You can't sit in a chair for 12 hours and not have anything to drink, and then after I give you a bottle of water, be like, a beverage would be nice. It's not the way anything works. Focus on a new that you wasted a chat line on that, and now you're like, we got him. We got Patrick to do it.
We got one!
And you did.
Spiro about it. I understand why Spiro wouldn't be the most open to talking to Trixx about it, because Spiro is still trying to figure out getting work and still trying to get his legs.
It's like Spiro's doing great. Spiro's nice. He networks. From what I understand, he doesn't piss people off and get involved in shit. Every time I've, the first couple times I met him, I forgot his name and I felt really bad about it. And he was super gracious and laughed it off. He seems like a great kid who every time I've seen him has been pretty funny. And he also is starting to really like get some stuff and run some shows around town. And again, just because I'm not at that level of my career where I'm out there hustling and trying to get gigs nonstop, like I make a living without doing all that stuff and bragging about it, I don't give a shit. Like again, I'm coming up on 20 years. So it's like, I'm not the guy who's like living out of his car chasing $25 shows and driving 3 states over for a one-nighter in a bar. I'm not doing that anymore. I've made money. I'm comfortable. And now I don't have to do those gigs, So it just sounds like we're in different places. You're like in a wood paneling apartment type of place, So like, again, maybe don't just attack young comics who are out there like doing their thing and killing it. And by the way, writing way better jokes than you. Again, like I don't know what his game is. Just attacking every comic stuff.
Work and still trying to get his legs in stand up. And I personally do like
not
Spiro.
biting that one. Eat my ass.
I've never really felt either way about him.
Jay Hollingsworth. This guy was his friend a couple months ago. Jay Hollingsworth, whatever. I can never. And by the way, how does this make your new friends feel? This fucking Victor guy or whatever. Like, how do you feel hearing him talk about old friends? I've known this guy for 10 years. I never really whatever with him. It's just like, oh my God. People are disposable garbage to this guy. Wake up and realize it. You will be next.
Work and still trying to get his legs in stand up. And I personally do like Spiro. Jay Hollingsworth, I've never really felt either way about him. He always claims to be my friend and stuff. And I'm cool. I mean, but Jay Hollingsworth.
How he frames everything. He always claims to be my friend. Yeah, that's what people want to do. People love going around telling people they're your friend.
Jay Hollingsworth is the type of friend that you go out to dinner with him and he orders a bunch of shit and then at the end tries to be like, so we're all going to split this equally? And you're like, yeah, I didn't eat half the shit you ate. So
wow.
Splitting this equally.
Oh, no.
And he took me to a Thai restaurant one night. Asked me if I wanted to go eat with him and another friend at a Thai restaurant. That was typical what happens to white people when they go to ethnic restaurants. Like, he paid way too much. It was $50 for each of us to eat on a Monday night.
Oh yeah, somebody in the chat's like, Ty must have been, it must have been one weird birthday lunch with this. Okay, so yeah, there's a guy. I don't know this guy at all. There's a guy who lives here apparently and used to live in Atlantic City and just started comedy when all the Butch Bradley stuff happened in Atlantic City. Okay. Apparently I pissed him off in some way because he goes on a thread. This guy's name is William Strange. Billy Strange. And he goes on Ty's thread and he says, back in Atlantic City, Patrick abused a bunch of local comedians because he didn't get paid by a club. So already I'm just like, what? Like, I made friends with a couple of the comics there and then talked to them about it at the end, telling my story. I never threatened anyone there or told anyone to do anything and certainly didn't abuse anybody. If anything, I bought them drinks. Then he says, then when another, also like, what does that do? Like, oh man, this club didn't pay me. I better abuse these open micers. It's like, what? Sounds believable. Then he goes, Then another comedian offered to pay Patrick and settle it up with the club later, but Patrick refused. And it's just like, what? To this day, I'd love to get paid. Well, also, we know comedians got it like that, right? You know, comedians always have just an extra $1,500 or whatever laying around where they're like, I'll just write you a check. I'm sure it's a misunderstanding. I'll get it from Butch later. It's like, what? That never happened. Where do you even get this horse shit? So after these two completely made up, like, you know, I don't know if you've gaslit yourself into believing any of that happened. But again, just do the math on it. Like, what does abusing comics get me? And what is, why would another comic offer to be the middleman and pay? Like, that doesn't even make fucking sense. So, like, get a grip, man. So then this guy goes, he writes this on Facebook, on a public comment. If I see Patrick melting out, it's still there probably and won't be after I point this out. If I see Patrick melting out, I'm going to bash him with a pipe or punch him in the face. So it's like, all right. Well, you know, like, don't think I'm never going out again, dummies. Like, I will be out. And when I see you, and guess what? 19 comics have told me, you are a strange little bug. You fit right into the last name. They said, you're a fucking weirdo. And when I said, what does that mean? Like, what do you mean, weirdo? They're like, I don't even know. Like, people said, I don't even have the words to tell you what he is. And I was like, what? You know? And apparently this guy, like, edits Butch Bradley's videos, I found out. Like, and again, nothing wrong with that. And it's like, again, Butch Bradley's not even running around going like, if I see Patrick. It's just like, holy shit. Which, again, kudos to Butch for being a rational adult in a sea full of so please, again, William Strange, I'll be looking forward to you bashing me if you see me. And you know, that's premeditated now, you fucking nut. This is one of these guys dressed as like Tommy NC 2010. It's all like trench coats, class rings, and hats. It's like, okay. It's all about layers and stuff. I don't know the guy at all. I don't know what his beef is. I don't know what I did to him or whatever, but I think it's just he's Butch Bradley's bulldog, so he's gonna bark. But just this is showing you what we're at. And then Ty's like, yeah, bash him, you know, like. It's like, okay, you all seem real fucking normal, you know. You all seem real balanced and proportionate.
But that's beside the point. Jay just, I could take him or leave him as far as he goes. And so when I talked to him about it, and he was also pulling that shit where
you have to understand that, like, I actually do have thousands of people, like, interested in Ty Rivera and, like, following this saga. And I introduced you to them slowly. So we're, like, watching this play out over time. You haven't introduced me to your audience at all. And also, you're also in the middle of 19 other lawsuits and fights with comics while you're frantically texting me. So you're a little scrambled and don't do a good job of explaining to your people. You know, I get, your 4-hour show. How do you do? It's like, yeah, I like to explain things to people so they can follow along, you know, and I mark the shows clearly so people know this is a 4-hour Ty show where we'll be going over one of his posts and why that makes him mentally unstable. What is happening here now? Oh, no. Oh, no. Hold on. What now? Fuck me. No. Okay. Wow. Calm down.
I could take him or leave him as far as he goes. And so when I talked to him about it, and he was also pulling that shit where it's like, well, maybe it's because you and Trixx exchange gigs together. You know, you guys will get each other in different places. So I understand from a business perspective how you Matt Markman for some reason thought
here's where he's gonna go off on Matt Markman now.
Matt Markman for some reason thought he had to protect Jimmy Kimmel's sister because apparently
he went off on Matt Markman for about 10 minutes on this because Matt came on my show.
Matt Markman, for some reason, thought he had to protect Jimmy Kimmel's sister because apparently, if Jimmy Kimmel's sister, a white woman, wants to talk to you, then you've actually got to talk to her. It's sort of like that scene in The Color Purple where the mayor's wife asks Oprah if she can, Oprah's character, which is Miss Sophia, asks her if she would want to watch her kids, and she says, hell no.
What?
And then that means that Oprah has to get pistol whipped and thrown into
6
jail
months
because
later.
she's actually assaulted a white woman by not being nice to her. And that's like when people talk about white supremacy and that kind of stuff. Here's the deal with me on that stuff. Usually, I don't care about that.
Again,
kind of
it's
stuff, but when
like, imagine me coming on and just being like, Kimmy Jimmel, yeah. When it comes to racism, here's the deal with me on that stuff. It's like, ugh.
white woman by not being nice to her. And that's like when people talk about white supremacy and that kind of stuff. Here's the deal with me on that stuff. Usually I don't care about that kind of stuff, but when I notice people that are from the left trying to employ those tactics but not call them what they are, I'm here to tell you this is exactly what it is you're doing. Like, that's just the way I work.
This is a new one for him. The racism card. You know, because he's always been against this. He's a super staunch Republican Trump guy. Now literally the whole community is just crumbling around him. He's scrambling. He had to like Photoshop a group of his gang, and he just has this Victor guy and his dog. That's the gang he put together. And it's just like, oh my God, he realizes it's all coming to an end.
BIPOC, which is Black Indigenous People of
Thai
Color.
supremacy.
Then you can't be that, and then at the same time be escalating the brown man scary trope, which is what they're doing when they do that. You know, with Krystle, she said that I stole pictures of her. Now let's run this.
Going off about Krystle again. Like this again, it's the third or fourth show he's just rambled about Krystle. Like, we don't know what you're talking about.
And that I was trying to catch her revenge charge, and I was lurking around her chat room or whatever the fuck she has. And okay, let's run this down.
Let's not.
Does anybody to hack into the cloud for me? I have no interest at all. Not
Hold
only
on,
as
what?
feuds, who am I looking for revenge on? Myself? What did I do? Why do I deserve to have to look at that? I can tell you guys, I have no interest at all. Not only is Krystle a woman, which if anybody didn't know,
fat joke
I'm
coming.
not into, but she's also fat and disgusting. So there's no way that I would at all hack into or hire somebody to hack into the cloud to get Krystle's pictures. And whether anybody wants to admit it or not, like, I'm a person that does run a particular way. And if you conduct yourself
I do things a particular way.
like
who
you're a
doesn't?
human being, like what you're
Make a
pretending
video
to
about
be,
it by all
an
means.
outstanding person.
By the way, why
Then
even
you
put
would've-
these on YouTube? Like, people are going to unsubscribe because they're not even these YouTube videos. I don't know if I can get that up. Yeah, I don't have the feed up for you to watch. But these YouTube videos are not even, he doesn't even appear on them anymore. The reason, and by the way, here's the reason. And here's some bombs. I'll put this right here because we'll talk about YouTube. On his video where he calls Trixx a joke thief, I looked at the counting metrics on it, and I noticed a spike. This guy gets 200 to 300 hits on his channel per video, just like we do. You know, after the first 48 hours or week or whatever it is that they do it. And he started getting like 1,000 views, right? On this one, on the video where he called Trixx a thief. Now, maybe it got a little heat. Trixx is a more popular comic than Ty all day long. All day long. So, when I did the response to Trixx and Ty having their fallout, we streamed it live. This thing took like a day and a half to process. By the time it got done processing, because there were links up to it, it was unlisted. People could still watch it if they follow the links from our group or Facebook or Twitter or any of the stuff. People who had the link the night before and the live streamers. So by the time it went live the next day, it had to process for like 24 hours. The thing had almost 500 views. Now, I talked to our guy. Okay. He tells me, Patrick, there's a way to buy YouTube views that will disappear. The accounts will get, the views will get uncounted. They show up for a little bit and they'll be uncounted. And we devised this plan. When I put that video up, we turned the comments off because we didn't want it to be obvious that the ratios were off. We turned the comments off. We bought 500 views for my response video. Okay. Now, by the time this happened and it all got sorted out, Ty had around 1,500 views, I think, getting up there. Okay. So we had seen another spike. So this time we bought 1,000 views, and this time it pushed it up to just over 2,000. And Ty's had sat for 2 days around 1,500. And then ours kept growing organically for a little bit, and we were around 2,200, and then Ty started spiking again. So we literally like baited him into buying YouTube views for this video to compete with. So he put out his Trixx is a joke thief video. And then we put out this no, he's not proof calling you out video. And then Ty like chased it. We watched him chase it up the charts. So all in all, I think we ended up buying like 1,500 views for this video. They're supposed to come off. He said like they would come off. Like somehow like YouTube would detect that they're not real views and they'll come off. But you can get an extension, vidIQ or TubeBuddy, and you can go to his channel and look, and you'll see the spikes when he did it. And go to our channel and you'll see the spikes when he did it. You can't hide it. You can't hide it. And it's something like, you know, we neglected our YouTube channel for Nobody Likes Onions until early last year when I started like, you know, doing thumbnails and descriptions and doing it a little better. And growing that organically has been rewarding, seeing what's kind of working and what's kind of not, watching the subscribers tick up a little bit. We launched the NLO Clips channel now, which is slowly growing. It's super slowly growing, but that's going to have a really good catalog of content. We're putting out almost a video a day on that now. So follow that NLO Clips if you haven't had a chance to go over to YouTube now. NLO Clips, just search it, you'll find it. But daily clips. But you know, what do you get out of lying and buying views on a video? Now, somebody did this to our Instagram account a while back, like bought 40,000 views or 40,000 followers for our Instagram account, and they disappear. I think these places are getting good. The Twitters and the Instagrams are getting good at like finding it out. But if you're doing that for yourself, you got to wonder, like, what's wrong with you, dude? And we had to keep buying them. We had to buy more because you kept doing it. You'll see the spikes. It's bananas. I'll get the graphs. We'll figure it out. We'll put the graphs up. But you can see it happening. You know, I can't prove it because, you know, anybody could buy the hits or whatever. But you can see the data, and it's a significant. You know, it's not something where you can go like, well, maybe he just got a spike. It's like, no, it didn't sit at 1,500 views for 2 days. And then just once we got up to 2,500, you went to, like, come on, dope. You're a vain little twink. I know where my eggs are buried. Do you think you're supposed to bury Easter eggs? Get a grip.
Approached me person to person and been like, hey, would you mind taking that picture down? And then I would.
And again, he always wants stuff person to person. He's a walking contradiction. Like person to person, we got to do it. It's like, meanwhile, you don't talk to anyone. You go back to your apartment and just ramble to everyone.
And taking that picture down. And then I would have respected it. I probably, not probably.
I don't know how many Josh Denny. I have no clue.
99.9%, unless you just.
Yeah, we'll use float plane. That sounds dope.
So it wouldn't even had to been a thing. But don't hit me up 2 days later and try to act like you're telling me something. And don't pretend to be the picture of morality when you're willing to lie about somebody because you don't like them. Don't.
Oh, you can also tell. Go look. This is also proof. Go look. He has 2,200 views or something on his calling Trixx out video now, and it's got like 40 likes. It's like the legit number of hits on ours on that video, I think, is around 1,500. I think we're at like 3,300, 3,400 right now. But I told you like half of those are fake. So it's around 1,500. And I think the likes, it's got like 330 likes and 60 dislikes or something. It's like, if you go on his videos with 200 views, they have 40 likes. So his one with 2,200 views has 40 likes. And I don't think you can buy the likes, But it's why I hid the comments, because it would have been obvious. That's how you know it's obvious. It's like, oh, he has 30 comments on a video with 100 views, and he has 30 comments on a video with. And by the way, he replies to every comment. So it's like doubling every comment. So again, all but proof. This guy is so vain, he's buying YouTube views. And two, he thinks you're dumb. And can't figure it out, And we baited him. We chased him. We held up a carrot. You chased it. We got you. We got you. Nice try, dum-dum. I don't know what it proves.
Don't pretend to be the picture of morality when you're willing to turn a blind eye to certain things because you don't like the person that's on the other side of them. Another person that disappointed me, I'd hit Jozalyn Sharp up, which I really like Jozalyn Sharp, and I will continue to like Jozalyn Sharp, but I have lost a lot of respect for her because I hit her up about the Gooch situation.
Does he understand that, that's not how you talk to people you like? I like her, and I'll continue to like her. It's like, oh, God, how gracious, sir. No one cares. But I lost a lot of respect for her. It's like, no, he really thinks like we're walking around going like, I hope Ty respects me. The only guy doing that is Victor. Let her know, guys. I lost a lot of respect for her. It's like she doesn't care. And by the way, why did you lose respect for her? Because I approached her about the Gooch situation. What's the Gooch situation? Oh, I approached Gooch about the Trixx situation. What's the Trixx situation? Oh, Trixx stole my joke. What joke? You're an idiot. Sound about right? That's the thread of logic of Ty. I'm pissed at Jozalyn Sharp and I've lost respect. Also, she's fat, right? Yeah. I'm pissed at Jozalyn Sharp. I've lost respect. Why? Because I approached her about the Gooch situation. What's the Gooch situation? Gooch saw Trixx steal my joke and he won't even speak up and save me. What's the Trixx situation? Trixx stole my joke, but nobody can back it up or prove it. What joke did he steal? I don't know. It's like, you understand you sound like a guy who's built a totem pole of lies.
Because I hit her up about the Gooch situation because rather than blindside him, because I was pretty annoyed with the Gooch situation. Because like I said, there's the fact that he's always talking about stand-up, which he knows nothing about. So there's that. And there's the fact that he...
So the first reason you're mad at Gooch, he's always talking about stand-up. So there's that. This is a guy with nothing. Okay? The number one reason he's mad at Gooch, he's always talking about stand-up. So there's that. Okay.
The fact that he's always talking about stand-up, which he knows nothing about. So there's that. And there's the fact that he has his little clica, which if you don't know is click. But he has his little group that every once in a while he'll have.
Yes, this is the second time we've heard Ty really get upset about other people having friends. The first one was Trixx, remember? Trixx is always going out drinking, trying to have fun, network. It's like, yeah. I'm not that guy. It's like, all right. And then Brandon Gooch, he's always just like got his friends around. It's like, yeah, good one.
But he has his little group that every once in a while he'll have one of them threaten another person on the open mic and be like, if you do this show, if you hang out with this person, you aren't going to get booked anymore. Yeah, Gooch, stop. You're not right.
Gooch has never done that to me. He just invited me to headline his Stupid Town show. I told him not yet. I understand that I haven't been out in a while and I'm probably not ready to do that. I'd be fine, but you know what I mean? Like, this is nuts. Gooch has never been anything but nice to me. Asked me to come down. He used to do a live podcast. He's always invited me on everything he's ever done, told me about cool shit when I used to not live here. We're coming to town, like, hey, there's a show here, go do this, go do that. Like, he's always been a really gracious guy. He's not the best comic, you say. I don't know any of Gooch's current stuff, so I can't comment to that. But like, these are your complaints about somebody you called a friend, you know. First of all, he's always talking about comedy, so there's that. Second of all, he was never great anyway. You know, he always got friends around. It's like, oh, he sounds like a real piece of shit.
But also, when we were talking, because when he was giving me his quote-unquote advice, I was hearing him out because I know that that's a part of conversation. You do have to hear the other person, no matter how much bullshit they're talking. So I was hearing him out, and a lot was...
You have to hear people out, no matter how much bullshit they're talking. What about when you just argue with yourself in a thread and block people? You've blocked like half the people on Facebook, you idiot. You're trying to come across as Captain Tolerant now, dummy?
Because I'm not really taking a guy named Gooch seriously when they try to tell me anything about my life. You're a radio guy. You're not really a comic. Those happen in every town, or a lot of towns have the radio guy that wants to be a stand-up comedian, so he'll get up there and do a few minutes. But
let me tell you something. First of all, radio is a hard talent. Okay? It's a hard, different skill. You can't just have dead air like you do on stage. Someone with inherent low energy, like Ty Rivera, could never do radio. You get away with that pacing and that gay sauntering to a joke and a punchline on stage. We've heard it. Mumble, mumble, Michael Jackson, mumble, mumble. You can't even repeat a joke when asked point blank. You stumble and mumble over your own words. You know, you're the one who hit record on this show, and you can't even bring yourself to sit up and do it. You know what I mean? So enough about being professional. You know, enough about, oh, he's a radio guy. It's like, let me tell you something. You have no clue what it takes to be a radio guy. So fuck off, number one. You've proven you don't have what it takes, okay? You don't have what it takes to keep a train of thought, keep a story going, and keep people engaged. Different intonation. You know, you don't have the creativity to be a storyteller, okay? I get it. You bought some red lights because you saw this show and you're trying out some voices, which I think is very cute and brave in a Claire's boutique kind of way. But we're on to it.
And a lot was just escaping because I'm not really taking a guy named Gooch seriously when they try to tell me I'm not a comedian. So he'll get up there and do a few minutes. But there was a point that like completely escaped me in the moment that bothered me later on. When I thought back about it, and there,
like, even if Gooch is mediocre at radio and mediocre at comedy, it's like you can't do radio, and you're also not good at comedy. It's like you should strive for mediocrity. Okay? I bet your dog can't wait to run away. Do him a favor. Dip some of those whimsies in arsenic and put him out of his little bijou misery. He wants to kill my dog. You're goddamn right.
Me in the moment that bothered me later on, when I thought back about it, and there, like he said the words, "Yeah, Ty, I would just hate to see you get run out of town."
I love him trying voices now, like a tough guy.
"Yeah, Ty, I would just hate to see you get run out of town." What in the 7-minute guest set is going on?
Mark my words. You will. If not physically, in spirit, it's already happening. Okay? Who's going to book you? Victor? Like, keep talking, dummy. We've all called it. You're out of here. We all called it. You're out of here.
On that comedy group. you know. And then Matt Markman, who I talked about, you know, he's a hobby comedian, and that's what it is. You know, he was working for, I think he worked for a pharmacy for a while. It's probably where he was getting my Viagra, was from that same pharmacy.
He worked for a pharmacy for a while, probably where he was. So apparently Matt Markman gave Ty his Viagra. He was a pharmacy tech. We learned that Monday. But Ty just airing it out like this, that's hilarious. It's like, again, I don't know if that makes you look, because we all know Ty's like 60.
Anyway, that's besides the point. It's his business, what he wants to do.
And he always does that stuff too. Like, this guy was a pharmacy tech and probably sold me Viagra, which, like, you probably shouldn't tell people that. Oh, whatever. I don't really get into his business. It's like you just told everybody, you little sassy ape.
But you know, I mentioned Matt Markman, and you know, he's a hobby comic to the nth degree, and doesn't even realize it. You know, like he went on vacation and tried to say, you know, that he was doing comedy at the same time.
He booked a whole tour, and then coronavirus hit, and then everything closed, and he managed to scrape together a couple sets still. It's not the same as he tried to tell us he was going on tour, but then nothing happened. It's like, yeah, nothing happened anywhere.
Say, you know, that he was doing comedy at the same time. No, you were just once in a while squeezing something in while you were touring the country with your family. Like, don't try to make it seem like you were touring for comedy in any way. And you know how I really know that is because you didn't make any content out of it. You didn't make a YouTube out of it. You didn't do anything.
Oh, I know you weren't really on tour because you didn't make a YouTube about it. It's like you make YouTubes when you're doing nothing at all, you know?
You didn't do anything that a person that was thinking in a professional way would actually do. If you went on a road trip during a pandemic and were trying to do stand-up at the same time, do you know how interesting that would be?
I went on a road trip during a pandemic and headlined for over a month in multiple states and multiple cities. I didn't feel the need to tweet at all or post one thing on social media and let them know. People are different than you, Ty. Not everybody has this vanity where we think everyone needs to know everything I do always. We're not that full of ourselves. We don't think we're that interesting. I have a vehicle here to talk, and I don't feel like it needs to be shared everywhere in my life. Okay? I go on tours internationally. Okay? I've done comedy everywhere from Kuwait to Spain to Australia. Okay? I've done comedy everywhere from fucking Djibouti, Africa, to fucking Shreveport, Louisiana, and everywhere in between. Okay? So, because I don't post about it or start a YouTube channel about it, I didn't really do it. You're out of your mind, dummy. Like, God, you're so stupid. I don't feel the need to tell everybody what I'm up to and brag about it constantly. Again, I'm past that point of my life. In January last year in Australia, I made over $50,000. I didn't feel the need to tell anybody until this fucking moment. Okay? Okay? Like, fuck. You're out of your mind. Successful comics don't feel the need to run around telling everybody how much they're killing it. You got to get it together, man. I know he didn't even do sets because there was no YouTube. What?
Do you know how interesting that would be for a lot of people that are in the industry? That would be very interesting. Even people that aren't in the industry. I think you could have actually made a real thing of that if you had just been smart enough to figure that out.
What does this have to do with anything?
Because you're a hobby comic.
So you don't like Matt Markman because he didn't make a YouTube channel when he went on the road? Pick a fight. Pick a fight. Yeah, right. Show us the overdose numbers. Oh, yeah, we're going to change overdose to 2 words from now.
I respect both of those things, but it doesn't make you a real stand-up comedian.
We are going to put an overdose coupon code in. we'll do a discount with a coupon code very soon. So if you're thinking about joining the Overdose, we're going to have a 20% off coupon very soon. Stay tuned.
But it doesn't make
Courtesy of Ty. Ty will be paying the difference.
But it doesn't make you a real stand-up comedian. So the fact that you even have opinions about what a person like me does is absolutely ridiculous to me. But I mean, especially since you weren't there, and anybody that was there would tell you that what was said about me was not true. So for me, I guess I get it when people aren't really doing things that they're happy with. They're going to concentrate on a person like me that really was minding my own business.
I mean, again, I don't know why you're mad at Matt Markman. And again, you thinking Matt Markman is not happy? Oh my God. After the show the other night, we talked and laughed, had a great time. You fucking dope. You're sitting there wringing your hands. You know what? As soon as the show was over Monday night, by the way, Ty said he'd never talk about me again like a week ago. And then as soon as the show was over Monday night and we didn't talk about him, he went on his Facebook and made a whole new post about me. So there's this guy who keeps making videos about me. It's like, even when we didn't, he had to like make it about him. He hated it. Look, he's texting me even more. He's like, what are you doing, you little... Hold on. Yeah, this guy is... Oh yeah, unban Fanningen97 or whatever his name is, if somebody can do that. If not, I'll have to get to it. I forgot about that. Oh, God, Ty. What a little donut.
Or because you think your last name matters. Not everybody's going to bow down to that. So that was your lesson to take from that. But you didn't take your lesson.
It says more about like Ty's head. Like he's mad at Jill Kimmel that she's Jimmy Kimmel's brother or sister. Like he's mad about it. Like no one else even thinks about it. He's like mad about it. Like who cares who your brother is? It's like nobody. We didn't bring it up. Like unstable.
Because I mean no sarcasm when I thank Alex Just Alex for taking me out of that comedy group. Because Alex Just Alex.
So again, I don't even want to be
sarcasm when I thank Alex Just Alex for taking me out of that comedy group. Because Alex Just Alex isn't a comedian. And when I was in that comedy group, when something would go wrong, I would have to deal with Alex Just Alex. And
when I was in a Facebook comedy group and something would go wrong, I would have to deal with Alex. What goes wrong in a Facebook comedy group that you have to talk to a manager? Again, remember when he said, like, I tried to talk to a manager at the club when his joke got stolen? It's like, that's not a thing they do there. Like, if I was a manager and you're like, he stole my joke, I'd just be like, I'd laugh and turn around. Are you new? Figure it out. You know how I know he didn't steal your joke? Because he's fine. I think if somebody would have stole your joke, you would have hit him. I don't think anybody did anything to you.
And having to treat him as not only another stand-up comedian, but as, in that situation, kind of my superior because he ran the comedy group, that's not a position that Alex just...
Again, that's a construct you made up. Look, I'm supposed to treat him like he's a superior. It's like, why do you have this chip on your shoulder? Who hurt you? I'm supposed to be like, yeah, treat Jill Kimmel special because her last name's Kimmel. It's like, why do you come into every relationship and conversation with that energy, that angry, weird angst? It's like, hi, Ty. This is John. He'll be your headliner tonight. Oh, he's a headliner tonight? So I'm what? So I'm supposed to be like, yeah, headliner. It's like, don't come in with that weird, angry energy.
Treat him as not only another stand-up comedian, but as, in that situation, kind of my superior because he ran the comedy group. That's not a position that Alex Just Alex should ever be in with a comedian like me. Really, actual comedians should have nothing to do with Alex Just Alex. And if I were to ask any actual comedians...
Again, real comedians should have nothing to do with a guy. It's like the place this guy thinks his place is. You know, it's just like... And by the way, the argument here shouldn't be, well, Patrick, who the fuck are you? That shouldn't be the argument. I don't come around claiming to be the goddamn king of Vegas comedy. Not a title I think exists or am interested in. Ty's like, me and all the real comics of Vegas. And I'm like, I talk to all the real comics in Vegas. They don't know you. He's saying that the real comics don't even know me. And that's not true. That's not what I meant, dummy. They don't like you. It's like, we've heard the people you've called friends on the past 5 shows, we know for a fact don't like you. Brant Tobler just talked shit about you on his podcast. You called him a friend 3 shows ago. Sounds like he's not your fucking friend anymore. Gooch will vouch for me about the joke. Well, you just did 30 minutes tearing Gooch apart. Sounds like he's not your boy. Big Irish J, sounds like he's fucking gone. Jozalyn Sharp, who, by the way, has anxiety, and you're a piece of shit for doing that to her. You think I'd ever take this fight to Jozalyn Sharp? She's one of the funniest, hardest working comics in this scene. Legit. You know? I don't like to have a lot of women on the show, but she's great. That's a joke. I don't want to get male or female. The point is, you know, she stays out of everything and is drama-free and just sticks to the fucking craft. And by the way, you ran a festival with her last year, you silly little girl. You guys put that on. You worked together. And now she didn't stick up for you, for a guy who didn't stick up for you, for a guy who didn't steal a joke. That's why you're mad at Jozalyn and drug her into this. And she has anxiety and doesn't need this shit from you. And by the way, this isn't the first time you've done this to her. You're a piece of shit. This isn't a good guy who's nice to people. It's fascinating, but it is the deterioration of a mental state unfucking checked.
Be like, who's that? And I don't really feel like a lot of people have a full grasp of the level of comedian that I talk to and that I deal with on.
We do. You drew a picture of your gang. It's your dog and Victor, the new guy. We do know the level of comedian. We do. Everyone's name I've seen on a headlining poster in here, you've had a fucking fallout with in the past 2 weeks. So now I do know the caliber of comic you talk to on the Reddit. Again, get a headliner in the seat across from you. Dummy. I've watched you on other people's podcasts. You bomb. You can't handle it. Confrontational. Attitude. Lost more friends. I don't even like Shang. He's awful. I'm bad. It's like, you're shit. You're shit. You're shit.
Deal with on a regular basis when it comes to like my interactions outside of, you know, who I see. So it's like there's these people that are like not comedians that have these ideas about me and no respect at all for me for some reason.
Again, who? Who are the non-comedians? And by the way, if someone's not a comedian, doesn't respect me as a comedian, why would I ever even talk about it? Like, this is, again, like you going on and on about how you didn't hack Krystle and steal her photos. It's like, dude, it sounds like you did because you keep bringing it up.
How I conduct myself. Because, yeah, I'll put all your business on.
I mean, and the reason we think that is because it's like, you said that, like I would ever go in your cam room, and you did a whole show about stalking her cam room. You did a whole show about it where you showed everybody you did it. It's like, are you okay, man? Like, I don't know if you're like genuinely gaslighting yourself or you're just retarded. Either way, you need a team of psychologists and psychiatric medication.
Like something's other than what it is, then I'll put all your business on the street. I don't care.
You won't.
Because
You
you're
won't.
coming up against me. So I have to defend myself. But
You don't. You can't defend yourself. Who was this show even about? Gooch? Jozalyn? Matt Markman? Who was this show even about? Big Irish J? Who are you mad at? LA Comedy Club? Steve McAnally? There's 17 people you went off on in this. By the way, which you've gone off on before. What do you want us to do now? We get it. You hate everyone. Real comics, no. It's like there's no one left. There's no one left. You have to keep tricking a group of open micers to hang out with you until they wake the fuck up. Like, you're out of your gourd.
Jog my memory, and then I'll be like, oh yeah, that did happen. Just like a lot of the stuff that I come up with now is from, like, I was completely willing to let certain things go, but then you saying that particular thing made me be like, oh, wait a second.
Ty's
You're
just
not as
texting me,
good as you're
fuck
pretending to
you.
be. You've actually done this, or you've actually done that. Like, that's more where that comes from.
What do
is
you
the
like?
people
I'm not
virtue
answering you,
signaling
and
stuff
like
that. That's
again,
why that's not my
pretty
thing.
stable
I'm
stuff.
never trying to tell you guys exactly how great I am as a person. I'm a great stand-up comedian. As a person, I've messed up a lot, and that's how I've learned different things, was by making mistakes and holding myself accountable and being like, okay, this is what you need to correct. This is.
It's like you block and kick anyone out of your life the minute they disagree with you. How have you ever like learned and grown and been accountable? You just flick friends out of your life left and right.
Hey, this is what you need to correct. This is what you need to work on. This is where
Just
you fall
horse shit.
short. And being completely honest with myself about that. You know, when it comes to this situation, I look at the good and the bad of it. And what Trixx really needed to understand is that if you were just on the up and up about more of the things that he's doing, besides just
You haven't proved shit, you idiot. He goes on and on. He babbles more about Trixx and the feet thing, and then this comes out, which is, you know, it's kind of, we'll end with this, but it gets really sentimental. He goes, you know, these people trying to get in the way of my success. I'm trying to get huge. I'm trying to blow up. People may not know this, but my father is 80 years old. Ty's 63. His father had him very young. I'm just trying to get famous enough to take care of it so he never has to work another day in his life. It's like, he literally says, my dad worked from 9 to 80. He's 80. And I just want to earn enough money so he can stop working. And it's like, how many Whimsy's alligators do you think you're going to sell through this fucking shit link? It was heartbreaking to hear that, because it's, you know, it's like, and I'm not saying you can't blow up or be famous ever, but like, dude, you peaked like 10 or more years ago. And you haven't, by the way, and when I say he hasn't written a joke since his development type set in like 2007, 8, he's written jokes, but they're all just re-templated into his hack, shocking gay shit. And it's just like, that Easter post the other day was a perfect example. It's just like, of something that didn't happen and also isn't interesting. Maybe stop being shitty to everyone and the money will come. Right. I mean, you could try that. Stupid Spiro and his friends. So stupid, you know. Oh, they're always out with their friends and stuff. Gooch is always just like talking about comedy, so there's that. It's like, oh, sounds like you've got a realistic complaints. Sounds about as solid as your evidence that any joke got stolen, other than the fact that you don't remember what it looks like. All right. That's going to be it with Ty, but I really hope you make it and save your dad. It's like, by the way, what a dream, you know? I'm going to make sure the last 6 months of his life, yeah, he's watching right now. He's texting me. Fuck you. He's texting me the whole show. He's out of his gourd. By the way, every third text is like, is this Patrick? It's like, stop asking that. He's so gone. I hope you can take care of your dad one day, Ty. Keep plugging away, man. It's just a dream, but one day you'll be able to keep reaching for the stars. Even if you miss, you'll land among the salsa. Hey, if you want to hear the rest of this show, how about head on over to The Overdose? What's The Overdose? You might be saying to yourself, well, we've been around since 2005, and we don't do it by reading ads to you over and over every show. We don't want to bug you. How about you help us on the back end? If you want to support the show, join The Overdose. $13 a month. We've raised the price, but guess what? You're listening to this. You want a little deal? How about enter coupon code UNBOTHERED at the checkout for The Overdose. You're going to save 20% right off the top. Tell them Patrick sent you, and you're going to save 20%. You're going to support the show. You're going to get instant access to a top secret RSS feed with all of our bonus shows, after shows, and entire back catalog of shows back to 2005, except for the ones where the links are broken. Email me about it. I'd love to get onto it for you and fix them, okay? No system's perfect, and I bet if I came to your house, went through your drawers, called that thing you call a mom down in the kitchen, and had her make us some ham sammies and show us photos of when you were a child, your whole history wouldn't be clear as day either, okay? I don't know why I'm being so defensive. Join The Overdose. I'd like to have fun with you, come hang out and stuff. Think of it as a way to pay my electric bill, okay? RTX graphics cards ain't cheap, kids. Join The Overdose, and we'll see you next time.